In 2022, Western governments woke up one morning and froze $300 billion in Russian reserves. With just a few keystrokes, the wealth Russia had accumulated over years became unreachable overnight. And to learn what we need to do before this happens to us, watch the video until the end. But here's what you didn't know. This happened exactly 2,500 years ago too. Same lesson, same mistake, same outcome. And the people who survived that era were holding on to the one thing that still holds true today. 546 BC. The richest man in the known world is looking out from his palace window. The Persian army is at the gates. His name is Croesus. In the Greek expression, as rich as Croesus, the legendary wealth of his era. For years he had offered golden gifts to Greek oracles. Once he asked the oracle at Delphi, "Should I attack the Persians?" The answer came, "If you cross the river, a great empire will fall." He crossed. A great empire fell. His own. But this not even the strange part. Cyrus took Sardis, took the treasury, took the mint. And then he did something no conqueror before him had ever done. He left the coins exactly as they were. He kept striking coins with Croesus's lion and bull design. As if Lydia had never fallen. Why? Because the system was worth more than the man. For 30 years under Persian rule, Lydian coins stayed in circulation. People trusted that money. Trust was heavier than gold. 510 BC, Darius the Great steps onto the stage, and he changes the lion and bull design. New coin, 8.4 grams, 96% pure gold. A king in a running stance holding a bow. The Greeks called them archers. We call them darics. The daric became the first true reserve currency in human history. The system worked like this. 1 gold daric equals 20 silver siglos. 1 daric equals 1 month's pay for a mercenary soldier. The exchange rate was fixed. It didn't change. And there was an infrastructure backing it. Darius built a royal road stretching 2,700 kilometers from Susa to Sardis, 111 relay stations, fresh horses and riders at each one. A courier could cross the empire in 7 days. Above the entrance to New York's main post office, these words are carved today. Neither snow nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night keeps the messengers from their appointed rounds. That line comes from what Herodotus wrote about Persian messengers. 395 BC. Spartan king Agesilaus is winning on Persian territory. Defeating him in battle was nearly impossible, so the Persians tried something different. A Persian agent named Timocrates was sent to Greece with 50 talents of gold. He distributed it among politicians in Athens, Corinth, and Argos. The Corinthian War broke out. Agesilaus had no choice but to march home. Later they asked him, "What drove you out of Asia?" Agesilaus said, "I was defeated by 10,000 archers." He wasn't talking about soldiers. He was talking about the archer image stamped on every Persian gold daric. Money won a war without an army. 330 BC. Alexander the Great reaches Persepolis. The historian Diodorus wrote, "The wealthiest city under the sun." What was in the treasury? 120,000 talents of gold and silver, just at Persepolis. Total across all treasuries, 180,000 to 200,000 talents. Roughly 5,000 metric tons of silver by modern estimates. To carry it away, 10,000 pairs of mules and 5,000 camels. This was the largest single seizure of sovereign wealth ever recorded in history. Then what happened? At a drunken party, an Athenian woman named Thais suggested, "Let's burn Xerxes' palace. Revenge for Athens." Alexander grabbed a torch. Thais threw the first one. 2 centuries of empire burned to the ground in a single night, but the treasury had already been emptied. Alexander melted the derricks, melted the siglos, recoined everything into his own currency. 31 mints operated, a forced currency conversion on a continental scale. But here's the interesting part. Even Alexander couldn't erase the Daric overnight. Mints in Babylon kept striking coins in the old Persian archer design for another 30 years, because the people trusted nothing else. Even the conqueror had to bow before trust. And the flood of treasury silver into circulation. Babylon's astronomical diaries, the world's oldest continuous price data set, show this. Prices were low and stable under the last Persian kings. After Alexander's conquest, a sharp price spike. It lasted a generation. For anyone living on silver savings during that time, the damage was permanent. So who came out ahead through this transition? 1. Those who held physical gold. The derrick's 96% purity meant this. It didn't matter whose face was on it. Alexander melted it down, the gold stayed gold. Only the appearance changed. 2. Landowners, but the smart ones. The governor of Babylon, Mazaeus, fought for Darius at Gaugamela, but surrendered the city peacefully. Alexander kept him in his position. His wealth, title, and estates remained. He died on his own terms 4 years later. 3. Institutions that served the new regime. Alexander restored Babylonian temples that Xerxes had damaged. The priests stayed in their positions. The temple stood, because Alexander needed local legitimacy. And the temples provided it. 4. And the least talked about story. A woman's name appears in the Persepolis tablets, Irdabama. She managed a workforce of 500 laborers. She had estates across Iran, Syria, Egypt, and Babylon. She was one of only 2 people who could authorize royal distributions with her personal seal. Her wealth wasn't in coins, wasn't in a vault. It was in productive assets, in land, in labor, in commodities, in relationships. When the treasury was looted, when the coins were melted, the kind of wealth she represented had the best chance of surviving any transition. February 2022. Western governments froze $300 billion in Russian central bank reserves. The mechanism was different. The principle was the same. Sovereign wealth held inside a system controlled by a rival power, seized. The response was the same too. Global central bank gold purchases doubled in a single year. 96% of surveyed central banks cited the Russia precedent as the reason. The reason gold can't be frozen. It doesn't require a third party to hold it. The Persians poured silver into jars. The Russians put reserves into Euroclear. Both trusted the system they were inside. Both learned the same lesson. The Daric was the anchor of international trade for 180 years. It circulated from Sicily to Afghanistan. It bought wars. It dictated peace treaties. And when the system backing it was conquered, the gold in the coins held its value. The institution behind the coins did not. 2,500 years later, the question is the same. The question Croesus forgot to ask the oracle. Will a great empire fall? It always has. The question is, what are you holding when it does? Persia was conquered 4 separate times over 4,000 years, each time by a different force. On this channel, we examine all of financial history. Like the video, subscribe, and take a look around. You won't regret it.